Hello friends, welcome back. Today we're talking about exam days, what to do the day before, the morning of, and during and after the exams. But before I get into that, I just wanted to thank you all so much for watching that CPA video. That one it has become my most viewed video on my channel, and I really appreciate the support, and I'm so glad. I love reading your comments on how the video helped you in preparing for the exam or reassuring you in the way that you prepare. And I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that support, and I wish you the best of luck on your CPA exams. Now, back to the video. This is talking about just all exams in general, not just the CPA exams, but later in the video, I will cover like how the CPA exams go about and how I approach them, on the exam days and etc. So first off, let's talk about what to do the day before the exam. Well, I trust that you've been studying like you're supposed to and not procrastinating, because let's be honest, procrastination doesn't really get you anywhere. Maybe sometimes you'll have success in procrastinating and getting those short-term results that you need, but it's not really beneficial. For an exam like the CPA, it's better that you retain information rather than just procrastinating, and you're not gonna get away with just procrastination. There's no way. So the tips that are about to follow are trusted that you actually did your studying before this. Number 1, stop studying. Stop studying the day before the exam, because it's just gonna stress you out. You're not actually gonna learn a lot of new information, and it's just not gonna be beneficial. It's more likely you're gonna confuse yourself rather than learn something new, especially for reg and CPA, for instance, where there's just like a ton of numbers to remember, like carry forwards, etc. If you try to study the day before, it's just gonna mess with your head. I just highly recommend to just not look at it. In particular, according to research, 12 to 24 hours before the exam, you're not really supposed to study or cram or anything. Trust yourself, trust your brain, trust that you've put in the work and that you're gonna be okay. Number 2, which I live by, is to do things that make you happy the day before the exam. Rather that's going for a walk, a run, eat something, treat yourself to some nice meal, a boba maybe, watch a movie or TV, whatever. Just clear your head, do something that makes you happy. Care for your mental and physical well-being. That's what I say. Take a bath, light a candle. Okay, I'll stop. Number 3 is super important. Get enough sleep, because sleep deprivation will cause, not just even sleep deprivation, but just not enough quality sleep will cause your brain functions to go down. Your comprehension, cognitive ability, concentration, logical thinking, everything will go down, and your memory will also go down. So definitely get enough sleep in. And if you're not used to going to bed early or getting enough sleep, well, too bad, because tomorrow's your exam day, and you really, really should do anything you can possible to make sure that you're well rested and ready for the exam. Number 4, before you go to bed, make sure you pack everything you need at the door. Specifically for the CPA exam, pack your ID, your NTS, and anything that you need for the exam. Put it in your bag, leave it at the door, get your waters, everything ready so you don't have to rush the next morning. Now, those are the major things that I would do the day before the exam. Moving on to the morning of. I typically schedule my CPA exams at noontime. I really don't like the 8 a.m. ones, because that's just too much pressure on myself, even though my brain functions the best. I love 8 a.m. classes, 8:30 classes when I was in college. But for an exam like this, I just needed enough mental and physical preparation for me to get there. So I for sure didn't want to do an 8 a.m. exam. So I booked for the 12 p.m. And I didn't want to do any later, because I don't remember if there are later exams. I think there might be a 2 p.m. one. I'm not sure. But those ones I'm just too tired in the afternoon for me to actually do that. So 12 p.m. is what I go with. So the morning of, I usually wake up at like 7 a.m. just so I can, make my breakfast, get in that happy routine kind of thing. And tip number 1 is to eat brain foods that morning. So what do I mean by brain foods? Eggs, fruits, vegetables. It's nuts, grains, fruits, eggs, and you're gonna love this last one. Dark chocolate. Yep, I said it. Dark chocolate actually helps stimulate your blood flow, which improves your brain cognitive ability, concentration. It actually lowers your stress levels, makes you a lot happier. Apparently increases your attention span and reaction time as well, and problem-solving abilities. Yes, this is according to research. You can Google it if you want. I just remember that back in high school, my math teacher would pass out chocolate before the exams, and it was the best thing about the day, because I mean, it's chocolate. So I would definitely eat these brain foods that help my mind stay more focused and sharp. So avoid like plain carbohydrates like white plain toast, because those are going to make you drowsy as all the blood flow goes to your stomach to digest and everything. If you're opting for carbs, then go for like the whole grain ones. And fruit wise, berries, citrus food, those kind of things. I love eating kiwi before the exam as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of using anything I can to help me boost my brain function, because we both know that I need the help. Number 2, don't drink too much caffeine. I know caffeine addicts out there, I was one myself, are gonna be like, oh, I can't function without caffeine. I'm not saying don't have any. I'm just saying like wake up earlier to have it, or trust that you got enough sleep. That's where the sleep comes in. Why? Because you're gonna need the bathroom breaks, and those eat into your exam time. Specifically for the CPA exams, later in the video, I'll talk about how the bathroom breaks work and how the exam operated. But in general, caffeine makes you jittery, and if you need to go to the bathroom, that's gonna take away your concentration, etc., etc. Just everybody's different, so take this with a grain of salt. If it works for you and really helps you more than it costs you, then go for it. Then drink the coffee, drink the Red Bull, drink whatever helps you. Number 3, I know previously I mentioned to stop studying 12 to 24 hours before the exam, but if you're like me and you can't not look at some sort of notes in the morning before the exam, then here's what I would do. I limit myself to a 30-minute time span where I'm just browsing through the notes that I made of the common mistakes that I had during the period of studying. So I'm not saying go through the textbook, don't look at anything new, look at the things that you've made mistakes on, that you've made a summary sheet on. So it's a minimal activation of the brain of some sort, and kind of reviewing the common things that come up and the common things that you make mistakes on, just to further reassure yourself that, yeah, you know this stuff, then you're going to be okay. And if you didn't know it, then it's a great opportunity to see like, oh, I commonly made this mistake. I still did it, but now I remember. And that's when the procrastination thing right before the exam might kick in. But don't overdo it, because like I said before, it'll just add to your stress. So trust yourself. Number 4, leave early. Don't count it to the minute like, oh, it's just going to take me 30 minutes there, so I'm just going to leave the house 30 minutes early. It doesn't work that way, because you never know if traffic's going to come up, or God forbid, accidents or something. Not to you, but like the road in general, you never know what's going to happen. So leave early. I'd prefer to get there earlier and wait rather than rush on the road and be like, oh my God, I'm going to miss my exam. You see my point? So that pretty much sums up what I do the day before the exam and the morning of the exam. Moving on, here on out, I'm going to be talking about the CPA exam and kind of what goes on in that process if you haven't taken it yet. So after you get your approval online or whatever, you're going to get an NTS, and you're going to use that to schedule your exam. Moving on to the exam day. Once you get to the exam center, you're going to check in at the counter with your ID, whether it's a passport or a driver's license of some sort. Just make sure you read the instructions. I believe they require 2 forms of ID just for verifications, but not all exam centers will check both, but it's good to have redundancy and just in case. After they checked you in, then they get you to put all your stuff in your locker, turn off all your devices, those kind of things. You can't carry anything, not even a pencil or a calculator, because they will provide you that. At this moment, you can go to the bathroom for a bathroom break before the exam, and I suggest you do that because it's a really long exam, so definitely go to the bathroom. And then they will check you into the testing center officially, not just the exam center. The exam center that I went to had this really long line outside, so that's why I said to also arrive early, because there's just a lot of people taking different kinds of exams, so they're checking in different people, different processes and everything. So it's just better to get there early. And when they check you into the testing room where you have a designated seat and the exam set up on the computer, they basically take your fingerprints, take a photo of you, etc., some signature, normal procedures. They kind of scan you down with the airport security thing to make sure you're not carrying any metal or anything in your pockets. And they check your sleeves. They ask you to roll it up, your pants and everything, just to make sure you're not writing any notes on it. And then you head into the exam center, the testing center, your cubicle. And if you've been studying for the CPA exam, you already know where the break times are, or you can Google this information. And there's one particular longer break time in the middle. That's when I typically go to the bathroom. It's a 15-minute break that you can go out and just kind of wander around and take a break before coming back into the exam room. But here's my tip. Once you go to the bathroom, if you don't actually need any extra breaks, recheck back into the exam center. I'd rather sit in that seat of my cubicle and let the timer run on break and my brain kind of just rest rather than being outside and wandering around, because sometimes it happened to me a couple of times where I was trying to check back in, but it took a while because there were people in front of me and my timer was running on the computer. And I was like, oh dang, I'm so close to like the timer running out. Can you just check me back in? But everybody's kind of in the same boat. So I would just say, go back in as soon as possible. And lastly, you can leave the exam early when you finish it. I think for my shortest one, it took me like 2 hours. I forgot which one exam was. I think it was audit. It just like took me 2 hours and I just kind of dipped. But reg and FAR obviously took much longer. So that's pretty much it. That's the basis that I would cover to make sure that I am putting my best self forward, giving myself the best stage possible to pass the exam. So hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you did, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment if you have any, subscribe if you haven't. I post multiple times a week. I hope you stay tuned and good luck on your exam journey. See ya.